What's going on? This is Sep. In this module, in this video, I'm going to share with you how to become independent and never rely on third party to, acquire leads or anything like that, right? In this quick video, I'm going to share with you, I've have some charts here that I've created. The document is an overview of what we're going to achieve, right? Essentially, it's going to dig into, what we're using, why they're dependent. Some people are using Zillow.com, Realtor.com, house, all these things, and we're trying to get away from that, right? We don't want to be dependent on these companies to drive us leads. We don't want to be stuck on contracts. We want to peel back the curtain and we want to see what competitors are using right now, right? People who have the knowledge, what are they using right now in the market? So in this video, I'm going to show you the overview, and then in the future videos, we're going to break down how to step by step compartmentalize each step so we can do it, right? So let's say right now, what's happening? You, maybe yourself or some other realtors, you're dependent on these companies. There's no value. You're not getting a lot of value from what's happening. Why? Because these leads are being shared with other people, right? The data is also being shared. There's a delay response time to the lead. Who knows the leads from a few months ago? So you don't know all these things. Why would you put yourself in that position of dependency? It's not good, right? Most of the time, the lead doesn't even recognize you. So you're wasting your time if you're operating within that, in that dependent. And it costs you even more. In the end of the video, I'll show you some math of what that really means, right? So that's some of the things. Some of the pain points you might have with people on your team, right? You probably tested these things out. You didn't make any money, and I talk to realtors all the time. We call them, they have the same pain points. Oh, it doesn't work. Mark, why? Because you think buying leads means, buying it from these companies instead of generating your own. So you've lost some money. It's not efficient. You don't own these leads. Like I said, they're being shared potentially. They're low quality leads. They don't even know you. There's no brand. There's no communication. There's nothing that pull these leads that might relate to what you're trying to do, right? And therefore, you're most likely hesitant to try new things. AI, for example, or generate your own leads, things of that nature, right? You might lack digital skill sets, which is why you're here to solve this for you. You might not have time to even understand marketing, which again, we're trying to deploy some AI agents to help you speed that process up. Or you might be hesitant toward change. You have a negative paradigm towards adopting new things or taking risks on something that might be new or other people haven't tried, right? You want a full set of results or something before you jump into that scene, right? So people are a little bit hesitant sometimes. So what stops you, right? Some gaps in training. Here is the solution. The solution is basically this: having AI and systems in place to help you create these types of things that require a lot of skill set prior. So for example, some of the skill sets are like media buying, right? Media buying is kind of the art of crafting an ad that captures attention and spending some money on it, right? So that skill set, we want to bypass that using AI to speed it up for us. User-generated content, something that relates to a lot of people, captures audiences, is a video of actual person versus maybe a stock footage or something. That's called the UGC, user generated content. So this captures attention. Why? Because of higher trust. So we're going to utilize that as well for ads. And obviously comes automation processes to make this thing go much, much more smoother. In future videos, we're going to, like I said, break down every one of these. This is mostly an overview. So once we have an understanding of what's going on, what we have to do, then we go into the implementation, which is crafting the media, doing the market research on our competition, who's doing what goes into capturing someone to click on something, so then later on we can get that data, i.e. phone number or email, to put it into our CRM to process that for later, right? So once we do this, then we can go into putting $1 in and measuring the results of, let's say I put $1, I made $0.5 potentially, or I made $3. So that's where when we go towards scale. If something works on a small scale, right? We start testing out like $5 a day type of ads. Then we can scale it and reach our targets, right? So ideally, that's what we're going to do. Okay. So doing this strategy, going towards having the independent approach, is basically allowing you to bypass being dependent on someone else ever again, whether it's for your real estate business, brokerage, any industry, lowering your lead costs, right? Making sure their leads are, refined. You have that refining process in place of quality. You get higher conversions, build your brand, and it's just a long-term compounding results, right? All right, so we identified the problem. We talked about that. We talked about, why some people are hesitant to generate those leads, right? Here's a chart. Here's an interesting chart that shows if you acquire a lead from a platform versus you do it yourself, right? How you would have. Let's say you have the same amount of leads. You have 1,000 leads coming in for yourself. You have 1,000 leads coming in for that platform, right? And that platform, obviously, they're going to be less qualified. They don't know you. The messaging doesn't correlate, but for yourself, it's going to be much higher if you control that. Are they engaged? Most likely not. Lower engagement, but when you do it yourself, you have a higher engagement. The conversions. Are you going to deal with lower conversions? Definitely yes. This is why a lot of people chase those cold leads versus doing it themselves, right? So we talked about that. And we talked about how we're going to implement it in the next future videos, how we're going to actually build the foundations, setting up the CRM, setting up some of the profiles we need, doing research on what's going on to the market, right? Identifying who our target market is, the geography, the location, right? Collecting data on the UGC types of ads in the market that's going. So for example, I just did a quick search for Oregon, right? This person is using a UGC style ad. Samantha McLean, let's just say, right? She's doing exactly what we're trying to almost duplicate here. This is AI, right? This isn't the same person. So I wouldn't know this if I didn't come and you utilize some of these tools to do that research. So we're going to understand that, right? And we're going to put it all together and actually put some funds behind it. $5 a day, mini micro campaign. Get back data so we can go towards scaling, right? And the costs and things like that. So what does this mean for you all together? If you do this effectively, obviously you have a lot of time saved. Obviously you have a lot of cost saved, and potentially you can bring more revenue. Now I have a calculator chart here, right? It's kind of a tool we built, which compares, the lead that you would get from a third party company versus you understanding yourself. When you do it yourself, you're looking at $3 on average. I've seen it being sometimes lower cases, but on average there, sometimes $5, right? Versus if you were to buy leads for different companies, $30, $50, $150, so on and so forth. And obviously when it comes to all the different metrics, you own the data versus you don't, or it could be shared. The conversion rate is much higher when you do it yourself. The cost is much better. You have that control and you can print leads over and over again. So let's just say you have all these metrics. Now you want to ask yourself, how much do I want to spend per month? Okay. Let's do the initial testing, where we like to test $5 a day type of scenario or $10 a day type of scenario, right? So let's say we spend $300 a month. If you were to approach it in the platforms, like let's say we operate it in the platforms, right? We probably get negative. You won't even make money, which is most people's reality. But let's say if you were to do it ourselves, we spend that $300, okay, a month per month. We're roughly looking at potentially closing one. Right, we get 100 leads a month. We close one, 7 to 8K commission, and annually we get 80K in return. So that's the goal we're looking to, right? This is why I made this calculator to showcase the potential. Once you see the value of that, then you're going to increase that. Let's say we put 2,000 ad spend per month. And this is how people can scale versus still you're paying $2,000 a month. In some cases, agents and a lot of people didn't even make money, so they were in the negative. This is the difference, right? So just wanted to showcase that to you of potential future what we're going to, but keep a lookout on the next videos because we're going to break down all the steps that's required, right? This was more of an overall get you hyped up what we're going to be working on when it comes to solving for the leads, which in further videos there's going to be other things we're going to be solving for. All right, so I'll see you on the next module.